Good morning, guys. Today we are going to talk about a concept called Spring Profiles concept. Today we are going to understand one new topic that is related to Spring and Spring Boot, that is Profiles concept. Before going for Profiles concept, we need to understand one small concept that we use in the industry, that is higher environments of our application. Higher environments of our application. If you understand what is the meaning of higher environments of our application, then we are going to understand what is profiles concept in the Spring Boot. So anybody having any idea what is the meaning of higher environments of our application, guys? Anybody from who is already working in this batch? If you are working professional, then definitely you will understand what is higher environment of the application.
Production environment, which is live running.
Yeah. So here first basically we need to understand what is environment. First we need to understand what is environment. Environment nothing but a platform which is used to run our application. Environment nothing but a platform which is used to run our application. Okay, so we will take a machine. So one machine is required in order to run our application. In that machine some softwares are required, then server is required, then database is required. So that is called as one platform. Platform is nothing but the environment which is used to run our application. So as of now, what we are doing, so we are developing our application in our laptop. We are developing applications in our laptop. So this is our system. In this system, we are having one OS, Windows OS we are using. Using this Windows OS, we have installed Java software. Then we have installed MySQL DB server also in our system. By using this Java and MySQL database, we are running our application in the system. So this is called one environment, that is local environment, dev environment, local environment. So this is my laptop, guys. So in my machine, my PC, or I can say my laptop. So in my laptop, I have installed operating system, then I have installed Java software, I installed MySQL database. By using these softwares, we are running our Spring Boot application in our system. So this is called as our local environment. This is called as our local environment. So for every developer, a laptop will be available in order to write the code and test that code is working as expected or not. That is fine. Our coding is completed and we have tested it is working as expected. Okay, so like this, every developer will have one laptop. They will do the coding and they will run the application and they will test it. The application is working as expected or not. They will test it. Our application is working as expected or not. Once it is completed, all the developers' code will be integrated into one platform that is called GitHub. We already attended Git classes. Okay, so here for every project one, Git repository will be available. All the developers' code will be integrated from our local system to GitHub repository. So multiple developers will be available in a project. All the developers' code will be integrated into GitHub repository. Once the code is integrated, so in our system, only our code is available. We will run our application code and we will test it. We will test it. Our code is working as expected or not. We will test it. Our code is working as expected or not in our system. Once our local testing is completed, then all the developers' code will be integrated in one repository that is called our GitHub repository. All the developers' code will be integrated into one repository That repository is called as GitHub repository. Once the code is integrated in the GitHub repository, what will happen? All the integrated code will be deployed into one environment, which is called as dev environment, guys. All the developers code will be integrated into one environment. That environment is called as dev environment. So what is the meaning of dev environment? Dev environment means it is another machine. It is another machine in which the softwares will be installed and the separate database will be available. The code will be taken from the GitHub repository and will be deployed into dev environment. So who will use this dev environment? Developers integration testing. Okay, all the developers code is integrated at one place, right? To do the integration testing, all the developers code should be tested at one place. That's where dev environment will be available. Once the dev environment is completed, dev testing is completed, then SIT environment will be available for the project. Once the dev environment is completed, then we will be having SIT environment. Okay, so what is the meaning of this SIT environment? The same code, the project code from the GitHub repository will be deployed into SIT environment. So what will happen in the SIT environment? Testers will perform system integration testing. The complete application will be tested by testing team. So that is called SIT, system integration testing. For that, SIT environment will be available. So first you will write the code in your system. Then you will run that code. You will test that code is working as expected or not in your system. First you will write the code and you will see that code is working as expected or not in your system. So once the code is working as expected in your system, that code will be integrated in the GitHub repository. So we already discussed about GitHub. It is a code integration platform. All the developers code will be integrated in this GitHub repository. Once the code is integrated in the GitHub repository, then a DevOps team will be available. So all the integrated code will be deployed into one more machine, which is called dev environment. What is the purpose of the dev environment? Dev environment is used by developers to perform integration testing. Earlier, only I tested my code in my system. Now all the developers code is integrated at one platform. All the code should be tested. Developers will perform the testing. That is called developers integration testing. Once the developers integration testing is completed, then our code will be deployed into one more environment, which is called SIT environment. So what is this SIT environment? This SIT environment will be used by software testing team. For every project, a testing team will be available. That a testing team will test the code by using SIT environment. Once the SIT testing is completed, then project will be deployed to one more environment, which is called UAT environment. Once the project testing is completed by the testing team, it will be deployed into UAT environment. What is that UAT? User acceptance testing. Nothing but our application will be tested by the client. So for which client we have developed this application, we will deploy the application to the client environment, which is called UAT, user acceptance testing. Whether client is happy with our project development or not, we are going to understand by using the UAT testing. Our application will be deployed into UAT environment, which is called user acceptance testing environment, which is called as user acceptance testing environment. You got my point? So then once the user acceptance testing is completed, then finally our project will be deployed into one more environment, which is called prod environment, guys, which is nothing but production environment. Production environment is nothing but live environment where application will be accessed by end users. Once all the testing is completed, then finally our project will be deployed into production environment, which is called live environment. So if end users are accessing the application, nothing but that application is available in the live environment. So in the real time, for every application, multiple environments will be available like this. In the real time, for every application, multiple environments will be available like this. What is the meaning of environment? A platform which is used to run our application is called as environment. In real time, we will have multiple environments like below. In real time, we will have multiple environments. In real time, we will have multiple environments like below. So what is the first one, which is local environment? That is used by our local system, where we are writing the code and running the code for your understanding and for testing purpose. That is called local environment. And the second one is dev environment. And the third one is SIT environment. And the fourth one, UAT environment. And the final one, prod environment will be available. So what is the, guys, we want to understand the profiles concept. Okay, so if you want to understand profiles concept, to understand profiles concept, we should know about environments of our application. Profiles are used to manage application environments only. So Spring Profiles is our topic for today. But to understand this profiles concept, first we need to understand about environments of our application. So what is the meaning of environment? Environment is nothing but a platform which is used to run our application. So in the real time, we will have multiple environments like this. What environments will be available in the real time? Local environment will be available, dev environment will be available, SIT environment will be available, UAT environment is available, prod environment is available. Local environment means developers, which is local environment means where developers will write the code and test it. I can say our local machine. Local environment means where developers will write the code and test it. Our local machine is called local environment. Dev environment is used for developers integration testing. All the developers code will be integrated into GitHub repository. We will take the code from the GitHub repository. We will deploy into one system. Currently, in my system, my code is executing. That is local. So I have my project here. I will go and run this project in my local and I will test it. So this is called my local environment. So in my laptop, I am having IDE. I'm developing the project. I will run the project and I will test it. My project is working as expected or not. This is called local. So this is only my code available here. So in my project, other team members also available. All the developers code will be integrated into GitHub repository code integration platform. Okay, so code integration platform, all the developers code is integrated. So then final code available in the GitHub, the code which is available in the GitHub, DevOps team will take the code from the GitHub and they will go and deploy that code into one more machine. That is called a dev environment. That is a separate server, separate database will be available. Separate database, separate server will be available in order to run our application. So that is the dev environment. All the developers code, final integrated code will be deployed into dev environment. So what will happen in the dev environment? So all the developers will test their code is working as expected or not after integration. So in my local, my code is working because only my code is available. My logic is working in my local system. Now my code is integrated with the GitHub. In the GitHub, other developers code is also available. That final integrated code we are going to deploy in the dev environment. So all the developers code is integrated. After integration, our code is working or not, we are going to test it, which is called developers integration testing. which is called developers integration testing. So once the developers testing is completed, now the project will go for software testing team. Testers has to test our application. SIT environment will be available. So what is the meaning of SIT environment? System integration testing. SIT environment means SIT environment is used by software testing team to perform system integration testing. Nothing but functional testing. They will check all the functionalities are working as expected or not. They will check all the functionalities are working as expected or not. Dev environment is used by developers to perform code integration testing. After code is integrated in the GitHub, that integrated code is working as expected or not, developers will test it by using dev environment. So first, wherever we are writing the code, that is called our local environment. So once our coding is completed in the local, then that code will be deployed into dev environment. In the dev environment, developers will perform integration testing. Once it is completed, then that code will be moved to SIT environment. That means it is another system. So in the company, multiple machines will be available to run our application for testing purpose. First code is running in the local, then our code will be deployed into dev environment. Developers will do the testing. If any problems identified, developers will fix those problems. Once it is completed, SIT environment is available. SIT environment is used by testing team to perform system integration testing. System integration testing, nothing but functional testing. They will verify all the functionalities are working as expected or not. So once the SIT testing is completed, then our project will go to UAT environment. So what is the meaning of UAT environment? UAT environment is used by client to perform user acceptance testing. So that means once the client is tested our application, they will decide whether project is ready or not ready. Whether project is ready to deploy or not ready to deploy, they will understand by using user acceptance testing. Okay, UAT environment used by client to perform user acceptance testing. Once a client is accepted, if a client is okay, then in the UAT testing only, clients are going to decide go or no go. After UAT, client will decide go or no go. Go means go to production. No go means don't deploy in the production. Go means acceptance for client production deployment. Go means confirmation for prod deployment, live deployment. No go means issues available in the application. Bugs are issues found in UAT. Don't go for production. Don't go for prod deployment. So like this in the industry, our project will be tested in multiple environments. So first we are going to do the coding in our system, which is called a local environment. We will do the testing in our local, we will do the debugging, and we will be integrating our code in the GitHub. Once our code is integrated, then that code will be deployed into one more environment, which is called dev environment. Dev environment is used by developers to perform code integration testing. Then SIT is available. SIT environment is used by testing team to perform system integration testing, which is nothing but functional testing. Once SIT is completed, they will find some bugs also. So if anything is not working, then the testers will identify the bugs and will report to the developer. Developers should fix those bugs and again should integrate that code. Once the SIT testing is completed, then our code will be deployed into UAT environment. That means another machine, another computer. So UAT environment means user acceptance testing. Who will perform the testing in the UAT? Client. For which client we are developing that project, that client is going to test our application and client will identify any problems available in the application. If there are no problems available in the application, client will say go. If there are no problems available in the application, client will say go. Client will say go. Go means, so that means go for production, application is ready. Go means go for production, application is ready. Once UAT is passed, once you got the go means go from the client, confirmation for the prod deployment. Then finally, our application will go for the prod deployment. Prod environment is used for application live deployment. Application live deployment. End users will access the application running in the prod environment only. End users will access application deployed in the production. End users will access application deployed in the production. Are you guys able to follow me? What is the meaning of environment? And in the real time, what type of environments will be available? And what is the purpose of those environments? Are you guys able to understand what type of environments will be available in the real time? And what is the purpose of those environments, guys?
Yes, sir.
So what is the meaning of environment? Can anyone talk about it? What is the meaning of environment, guys?
Platform which is used to run our application.
Yes, environment is nothing but a platform which is used to run our application. Environment means a machine, software, database, everything comes under one environment. A platform which is used to run our application is called as one environment. So developers will do the coding in our local system. That code will be integrated in the GitHub. Once the code is integrated in the GitHub, that code we are going to deploy into environments, dev environment, SIT environment, UAT environment, prod environment. Like this, multiple environments will be available for our application. Dev, SIT, UAT, prod. Like this, multiple environments are available. What is the purpose of dev environment, guys? What is the purpose of dev environment? Who will use the dev environment?
Developers.
Dev environment is used by developers to perform integration testing. Dev environment is used by developers to perform integration testing. Then what is SIT environment? What is the full form of SIT? System integration testing. SIT stands for system integration testing, that is used by testers to test our application. SIT environment is used by testers to test our application. Then what is the meaning of UAT environment? What is the full form of UAT? UAT stands for user acceptance testing. Who will perform the UAT in the real time? Guys, who will perform the UAT in the real time? Client is going to perform UAT in the real time. Client is going to perform the UAT in the real time. And the next one, prod environment. Next one is the prod environment. What is the meaning of a prod environment? Prod is nothing but production environment. So the application which is deployed in the production will be accessed by end users. So in the real time, for every project, multiple environments will be available like this. Environment is nothing but a platform that is used to run our application. Local environment will be available, dev environment will be available, SIT environment will be available, UAT environment will be available, prod environment will be available. Local environment means where developers will write the code and test it for our local machine. Dev environment is used by developers to perform code integration testing. SIT environment is used by testing to perform system integration testing. UAT environment is used by client to perform user acceptance testing. After the UAT got completed, client will decide go or no go. What is the meaning of go? Go means confirmation for the production deployment. No go means issues found in the UAT don't go for the prod deployment. Prod environment is used for application live deployment, used for live application deployment. Live application, nothing but the end users will access our application available in the production. End users will access our application which is deployed in the production. Now that is okay. Now let's understand. When you go for multiple environments like this, when you go for multiple environments like this, guys, in the real time, for every environment, separate database will be available. So this dev environment will be using one database that is called DevDB. That is called DevDB. So when the application is deployed into dev environment, our application will connect with the dev database. And when application deployed in the SIT environment, SIT database. When application deployed in the production database will be available. So every environment will maintain its own database, guys. Every environment will maintain its own database. So here, dev environment, SIT, every environment will maintain its own database. Environment specific properties will be available. So for example, for our applications, so as we are dealing with multiple environments, for our application, then environment specific properties also we need to take care. Then environment specific configuration properties we have to configure. For example, dev environment. I'm going for a dev environment. When I'm going for dev environment, DB username, my DB username ashokit@devdb, okay, and DB password ashokit@devdb@321, something like this. So when I am running application in multiple environments, so dev environment database available, database username ashokit_devdb ashokit_devdb_321. So this is my database for the dev environment. Now when I go for SIT environment, then ashokit_SITDB is available, ashokit_SITDB_some123 is available. Similarly, for UAT and for production also, different databases will be available and the database credentials will be different. UAT environment is available, and similarly production database also available. Prod database is very secure database, separate database is available. So DB username ashokit_prod some password I am going to configure. This is ashokit_UATDB is available, UATDB123 is available. So like this, multiple databases available for our application. Environment to environment, the database is going to be different. Multiple environments are available. So when we are having multiple environments for our application, then multiple databases will be available. So this is DevDB, and this is SITDB, and this is UATDB, and this is production DB. Okay, so the database is also different. So when the code is running in the dev environment, it should connect with the dev database. When code is running in the SIT environment, connect with the SIT database. When code is running in the production, then connect with the production database. When code is running in the UAT environment, connect with the UAT database. So for our application, multiple environments available, then multiple databases will be available, and every database having its own credentials. Every database will have its own credentials, guys. Are you able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me? Yes. So we are developing a project for the real time. So in the real time, our project will be tested in the multiple environments. Then finally, our project will go to production environment. As we are maintaining multiple environments, for our application, then environment specific configuration properties we have to configure like DB properties will change from environment to environment. DB properties will change. SMTP properties will change. Kafka properties will change. Security properties will change from environment to environment. Okay, when my code is running in the dev environment, it should connect with the dev database. For dev database, what are the credentials available? This is username and password. When my code is running in the SIT environment, then it should connect with the SIT database. For SIT database, these are the credentials available. When my code is running in the UAT environment, it should connect with the UAT database. For UAT database, these are the properties available. When my code is running in the production environment, it should connect with the production database. For production database, these are the properties available. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me what I'm trying to explain now? Are you guys able to follow me what I'm trying to explain now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So here our application will be deployed in the multiple environments for testing purpose. Once the testing is passed in the dev, SIT, UAT, then finally project will go to production. When our application is deployed in the multiple environments, so environment specific properties will be available. I mean to say, when my code is running in the dev environment, my code should connect with the dev database only. For dev database, some credentials are available. When my code is running in the SIT, it should connect with the SIT database. When my code is running in the UAT, it should connect with the UAT database. When my code is running in the production, it should connect with the production database. When my code is running in the production environment, it should connect with the production database. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me? So for project, multiple environments will be available, and for every environment, some set of properties will be different. Database properties will change from environment to environment. SMTP properties will change from environment to environment. Kafka properties will change from environment to environment. Security properties will change from environment to environment. So in the real time, our application, once you write the code, directly it will not be delivered to the client, guys. Once you write the code, that application will be tested in multiple environments. Application will be tested in multiple environments. Then only that application will go to production. Application will be tested in the multiple environments. Then only that application will go to production environment. Then only it will go to production environment. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me?
Yes, sir.
In real time, our application will be deployed into multiple environments, and for every environment, set of properties are going to be different. Now you see what is the problem here. So as of now, in our Spring Boot applications, there is one properties file is available, which is application.properties file is available. Single application properties file is available. I have configured my data source properties in the properties file, guys. So this is my Spring Boot application. My Spring Boot application is having some properties file. In this properties file, I'm configuring my username and password. So this is related to one database, guys. For example, this is username root_dev and root_dev_123. So this application, when I run, this is going to connect with the dev database. My application will connect with the dev database. Then tomorrow, when I want to deploy my application in the SIT environment, then what is the problem, guys? When I want to deploy my code in the local environment, when I'm deploying my code, it will connect with the local database. JRTP27 is my local database, and the username and password is available. Okay. Then when I want to deploy my application in the dev environment, so DB schema. So this is Ashok ID underscore devdb. Ashok ID underscore devdb. And this is Ashok ID underscore sitdb. Schema name is different, username is different, and password is different. Every database having its own schema, its own username and password. Now, what is the problem we are going to face in this scenario, guys? What is the problem we are going to face in this scenario? Is there any problem we are going to face in this scenario? We don't have any problem in this scenario. When my application running in the local, it should connect with my local database, local data source properties, local DB data source properties. Now, the database name I have given as JRTP27, username is root, password is root. This database available in my system only. It is going to connect with the database. It is going to connect with the database. Now, my local testing is completed. Now I want to deploy my application. I want to deploy my application in the dev environment. For the dev environment, separate database is available. When my code is running in the dev environment, it should connect with the dev database. So this is the database name, this is username, and this is password. Then what I need to do? I need to change the user database name. Go here, change the database name, and change the database username, and change the database password, change the username, change the password also, underscore 123. So now my application will connect with the dev database. Okay, my code is deployed in the dev environment, dev testing is completed. Then after 3 hours, I want to deploy my code in the SIT environment. Then again, what I need to do? I need to change this from dev database to SIT database. I want to change it from dev database to SIT database. Once it is changed, then I am going to deploy my application in the SIT environment. Once SIT completed, now I want to deploy my application in the UAT environment. Then what I need to do? Again, I need to go here and I need to change the properties file, UAT database username, UAT database password, UAT database username, UAT database password. Once UAT is completed, then I want to deploy my application in the production. When I want to deploy my application in the production, again what I need to do? I need to go here and I need to configure production database details, production database URL, production database username, production database password, and I need to deploy my application. Is there any problem? Can you see any problem in this process? Guys, can you see any problem in this process?
Yeah, we
Yes,
are
sir.
changing
Changing the
some-
What is the
database.
problem in this process?
Data stored in different databases.
That is not the problem.
Every time we can change the
What
username
is the
password.
problem here?
Every time we
Every
can
time we
change
need
the
to
username
update the
and
properties.
password.
Every time we need to update the properties file. When I want to deploy my code in the dev environment, I need to change the properties file to connect with the dev database. And when I want to deploy my application in the SIT environment, again I need to change the properties file. When I want to deploy the code in the prod, again I need to change the properties file. So daily I want to deploy my application in the multiple environments 10 times, 15 times. So every time you need to go and change your properties file. If you do a small mistake while changing this one, instead of UAT, I have written as 80. A spelling mistake I have done here. Then what will happen, guys? Because you are human, whenever you are changing some file, because it is a text file, when you are changing some text file, there is a chance of doing some spelling mistake. So if you do a small spelling mistake while changing the properties file, then your application deployment will fail. So is it recommended to change the properties file like this every time? Is it recommended to change the properties file like this every time? Come on, guys. Is it recommended or it is not recommended to change the properties file like this every time?
Not recommended.
Why it is not recommended? Because we are humans. When we are making a file change, there is a chance of doing a mistake. If you do a small mistake in the file change, then it will impact on the project execution. It will impact on the project deployment. So it is a risk, guys. This is not at all recommended to change the properties files like this when we are deploying our application into multiple environments. First of all, you got the clarity. What is environment? Why we are going for environments, and what are environment specific properties? Can anyone tell me? So can anyone tell me what is environment, guys? Can anyone tell me what is environment?
Place where we can run our application.
Environment is a place where we are going to run our application, or we can say environment is a platform where we are going to run our application. So in the real time, after your coding is completed, directly it will be delivered to the client. Once you done the coding in the project, directly your code will be delivered to the client, or your code will not be delivered to the client directly. Guys, come on. Once your coding is completed, directly your code will be delivered to the client, or your code will be tested in the multiple environments.
Tested on the multiple environments.
Yes. Once your coding is completed, that code will be tested in multiple environments. So what are the environments available in the real time? What environments we are having in the real time, guys?
Development
Environment is available. SIT environment is available. UAT environment is available. Production environment is also available. Like this, multiple environments are available in the real time. Dev environment, SIT environment, UAT environment, prod environment. Who will use the dev environment? Who is going to use the dev environment, guys? Developers. Code integration testing. In your system, you tested that code. It is working. Now your code is integrated in the GitHub. In the GitHub, other developers' code is available. All the developers' code will be tested in the dev environment. Developers integration testing. When our code is deployed in the dev environment, it should connect with the dev database. Okay. For a dev database, one URL, one username, one password is available. That is fine. Once the developers testing is completed, then our code will be deployed in the SIT environment. What is the full form of SIT? System integration testing. That will be done by testing team. When our code is deployed in the SIT environment, it should connect with the SIT database, separate database. I mean to say separate URL, separate username, separate password will be available. Once the SIT completed, then our project will go to UAT environment. UAT nothing but user acceptance testing. So what is the full form of UAT? User acceptance testing. Who will perform this UAT? Who will perform this UAT, guys? This UAT will be performed by client. UAT will be performed by client. User acceptance testing. Client is going to perform this UAT testing. Once UAT completed, client will send an email, go or no go. What is the meaning of go? What is the meaning of go?
Go to production server.
Go to production deployment. No go means client found some bugs in the application. Don't go for the production deployment. So what is the meaning of production now? What is the meaning of production? Any application that is accessing by end users, nothing but it is a production application. So when you deploy the application in the production, live users can access our application. End users, direct end users can access our application. So when we are deploying the application in the now, whatever the database you are using at the time of development, same database will you use for production also? Guys, whenever you are doing the development and testing, you are connected to one database. When your application deployed to the production, you will use the same database, or you should not use the same database?
We should not use the same database.
So will you use only one database for development, for testing, for production also? Or we need to use multiple databases for our application?
Multiple databases.
At the time of development, we will use one database. At the time of testing, we will use one database. At the time of production, we will use one database. So for every environment, a dedicated database will be available in the real time. When your code is running in the dev environment, it should connect with the dev database. When your code is running in the SIT environment, it should connect with the SIT database. When your code is running in the UAT environment, it should connect with the UAT database. When your code is running in the production environment, it should connect with the production database. Are you clear? Now, so here if you see in our Spring Boot application, where we are configuring the database properties, our application having multiple environments. For every environment, separate database is available. Database URL is available, database username available, database password available. Where we are configuring database details in the Spring Boot application? Application.properties file. In my application.properties file, currently I have configured these properties. So JRTP27 root. So where is this JRTP27 database available? Can you see this one? Where the database available now? Localhost. Where is my database available, guys? My database is available in the localhost. What is the meaning of localhost?
Only in our system.
What is the meaning of localhost, guys?
In our system.
Database available in the local system. So now tomorrow, when my code is deployed in the dev environment, then the database URL is going to change. My database is available in one more machine, something like this, 192.168.4.3, and this is the IP address where my database available, and my database name is ashokit_dev_db, and this is the username and password of the database, ashokit_dev user, ashokit_dev user password. Like this, I need to change the properties. Then my application will connect with the dev database. Okay, I modified the properties file and I have deployed application in the dev environment. Then my application will connect with the dev database available in this machine. This is the IP address of the machine in which the database is available. If you give localhost, that means our local system. If I give IP, that is a remote machine. In the company, remote machines will be available. So database will be available in the other computer. Our application should connect with this database. We need to give this URL, IP address. Okay, application deployed in the dev testing is completed. Application deployed in the dev testing is completed. Now, I want to deploy my application in the SIT environment. For SIT environment, separate database available. Then what I need to do? Go here and the SIT database available, ashokit_SIT database, and the SIT user, SIT password I have to configure. Because for every environment, separate database for testing. Then only we can identify the problems in the application. We should not use a single database for every environment. So every environment will have its own database. Then again, I need to change my properties file to connect with the SIT database. SIT database I have connected, I have tested, it is done. Project is passed in the SIT. Now I want to deploy my project in the UAT environment. For UAT, separate database available. Then what I need to do? Again, go to the properties file and go and configure UAT DB here, UAT user here, UAT password here. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? I will connect with the UAT database. Once UAT completed, we got the confirmation from the client, go. That means go for production. Then for production, I have separate database. Prod DB is available. I need to configure ashokit prod DB username and prod DB password here. Production database user and production database password I am going to configure. So if you observe, every environment is having its own database, and every database is having its own URL, its own username, its own password. So when we are deploying our application in the multiple environments, every time we need to change our properties file. So can you see any problem in this approach? Can you guys see any problem in this approach? Is there any problem available, or there is no problem available? Guys, is there any problem available, or there is no problem available? Come on, guys, can you tell me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, a problem is there.
Every time we need to
Problem
change
available.
the respective database configurations.
There is a problem available. What is the problem you see here in this approach? What is the problem is available?
Every time we
There is
need
a
to
chances
change
of doing
the
mistake.
database.
Every time we need to change our properties file. So here I'm talking about only database properties. So in the real time, along with the database properties, Kafka properties will be available. Kafka server properties. Kafka server will be different from every environment to environment, and Redis properties will be available. Redis server properties will be available, and some security properties will be available. So every time we need to change database properties, Kafka properties, Redis properties. Is it easy? No, it is very difficult, and it is difficult problem, and there is a chance of doing some mistakes also. So we are going to, as we are dealing with multiple environments for our application deployment, for our application testing, for our application. So as we are dealing with multiple environments for our application, then environment specific configuration properties we have to configure properly before deploying our application. So database properties will change. So for every environment, as we are dealing with multiple environments for our application, every environment will have its own configuration properties. Like database properties will be available, SMTP properties will be available, Kafka properties will be available, security properties, Redis properties will be available. Redis database properties, SMTP properties, Kafka properties, Redis properties will be available. So if we are maintaining, if we are changing the application.properties file every time, then there is a chance of doing the mistakes. Okay, so if we are using single application.properties file, if you are using single application.properties file, then every time we have to change properties. Every time we have to change properties according to environment deployment. So when I am going for dev deployment, dev properties I have to configure. When I am going for SIT deployment, SIT properties I am going to configure. When I go for UAT deployment, UAT properties I have to configure. When I go for production deployment, production properties I have to configure. So like this, assume that there are 100 properties available. For database, 3 properties available. For Kafka, 3-4 properties available. For Redis, some properties available. Like this, there are 100 properties available. So every time when you are going for the deployment, you need to change those 100 properties. Every time when you are going for the deployment, you need to change those 100 properties. So is it recommended or it is not recommended? If we are changing the properties like this, if we are changing properties like this, then there is a chance of doing mistakes in properties file. So if you are changing properties like this, then there is a chance of doing mistakes in the properties file. Then our application deployment will fail. So first of all, it is a time-taking process. So every time changing 100 properties means it is not easy. It may take 30 to 40 minutes of time. Every time I am going there and I am going to change the properties, it is going to take 30 to 40 minutes of time. And if you spend 30 to 40 minutes also, if you spend 30 to 40 minutes also, is there any guarantee that you will not do any mistake? Is there any guarantee that you will not do any mistake here? We are humans. There is a chance of doing the mistake also. All right. So for every environment, some properties are going to be changed. As we are dealing with multiple environments for our application, every environment will have its own configuration properties. Database properties, SMTP properties, Kafka properties, Redis properties will be different from environment to environment. So as you have seen, so if you are going with dev environment database, username, password. So SIT, username, password. Production, username, password. Everything is changing. So if we are using single properties file, then every time we have to change the properties file according to environment deployment. So if we are changing properties like this, then there is a chance of doing mistakes in the properties file, then our application deployment will fail, because every time I need to change 100 properties. So now I will go to my properties file, I will change 100 properties, then I will deploy in the dev environment. After 1 hour, I want to deploy in the SIT. Again change the properties file and deploy in the SIT. Then again change the properties file, deploy in the UAT. Again change the properties file, deploy in the production. So if you are doing deployment 20 times in a day, then 20 times you need to change the properties file. And how many properties? 100 properties available. Changing 100 properties, it will take half an hour time minimum. Minimum half an hour time it will take, because very carefully you need to change the properties. Database username, database password, database URL, Kafka URL, Kafka username, Kafka password, Redis URL, Redis username, Redis password. Very carefully you need to change your properties file before deploying in the environment. If you are doing that change manually, there is a chance of doing the mistake. If you do a small spelling mistake, also, then your application will be failed. Your application deployment will be failed. So is it recommended approach or it is not recommended approach to change the properties file every time before going to deploy the application? Is this recommended approach or it is not recommended approach to change the properties file before deploying the application?
Not recommended.
It is not recommended. Now you understand what is the problem that we are going to face in the real time. So whenever you are doing a training, you will use only one database for everything, so you will not face the problem. But in the reality, the concept is different. When you go for the industry, application will be deployed in the multiple environments like this: dev, SIT, UAT, prod. And every environment will have its own properties. Every environment will have its own properties. And those properties we are configuring in the properties file. When I am going for a dev deployment, I need to change the properties. When I go for a SIT, again change the properties. When I go for UAT, again change the properties. When I go for the production, again change the properties. So it is going to take a lot of time. It is going to take a lot of time in order to change the properties. Time, that is okay, fine. But if you do a small mistake, whenever you are configuring the username, password, URL, if you forgot to change the username, you changed everything, but the database password you forgot to change. You changed everything properly, but you forgot to change the database password. Password you configured as UIT password, but it is trying to deploy in the production. Then what will happen? Then what will happen, guys?
Deployment will fail.
Application deployment will be failed. Our application deployment is going to be failed. So is it recommended to change the properties like this, or it is not recommended to change the properties like this?
Not recommended.
It is not recommended to change the properties like this. It is not recommended to change the properties like this. Are you guys able to understand my point?
Yes.
Are you guys able to understand my point?
Yes.
Sir, only URL and username password only changed, or is there anything else also need to change, sir?
Yes, I told you database properties will be changed, Kafka properties will be changed, Redis properties like this. Multiple properties are going to change in the real time. Database URL, username, password, SMTP properties, Kafka properties, Redis properties are going to change in the real time. Every environment will have its own properties. You got my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in the real time, our application will have multiple environments. So every environment will have its own properties. Every environment will have its own properties. So whenever you are deploying the application, changing these properties is going to take a lot of time. And if do a small mistake also, there will be a big problem. Application deployment will be failed. If you do a small mistake also, the application deployment is going to be failed. Are you guys clear with my point?
Yes.
Yes. Then to overcome this problem, in the Spring, profiles concept is available. So when you are having multiple environments, every time going to the properties file and changing the properties file is difficult. So to overcome this problem, in the Spring, there is a concept available which is called profiles concept. So what is the purpose of profiles concept? Spring profiles concept is used to manage multiple environment specific properties in the application. What is the Spring profiles concept, guys? It is used to manage multiple environment specific properties, in our application. Instead of managing instead of sorry guys, instead of changing one property file every time, it is difficult. If you want to change one properties file every time, it is difficult. To overcome that problem, we are going to use a concept called Spring profiles concept. It is used to manage multiple environment specific properties in our application. Using Spring profiles, we can easily deploy our application in multiple environments. Sir, how it is going to help us? So as of now, we have created one properties file, guys. As of now, we created one properties file. But in the real time, what we are going to do? In the real time, we are going to create multiple properties files. One properties file I am going to create application-dev.properties. Okay, application-dev.properties file, application-sit.properties file, uat.properties file, and production.properties file. So dev properties file is available, sit properties file is available, and similarly uat properties file is available, and similarly prod properties file is available. Okay, so dev property file will contain only development related properties. Now see here, I am having application.properties file. I will copy this one and I will create one file with a name called application-dev.properties. Application-dev.properties. So in this properties file, what I will configure? Dev database I will configure. Dev database username and dev database password. Okay, so it is containing my dev database properties. Similarly, I will create one more properties file with a name called application-sit.properties file. Application-sit.properties file. In this properties file, I will configure SIT database username, SIT database password also. Okay, SIT username, SIT password is available. Similarly, we will configure UAT properties file, application-uat.properties, and similarly we will configure application-production properties. Application-production properties file will be available. Okay, so dev properties file contains the properties which are used to connect with the development database. SIT properties file contains the properties to connect with the SIT database. Similarly, UAT properties file will be available. It will connect with the UAT database. UAT username, UAT password I will configure. So similarly, yeah, Kafka properties, Redis properties also I will configure related to environment. And one more properties file available, production properties file available. Ashok IT, prod database, prod username, prod password I will configure. Prod username and prod password I will configure. Okay, so now am I using single properties file? Am I using multiple properties file now? Am I
Multiple.
using single properties file? Am I using multiple properties files now?
Multiple
Come on,
property
guys.
file.
Dev properties file contains dev environment data. Okay. SIT properties file contains SIT environment data. UAT properties file contains UAT environment data. Prod properties file contains prod environment data. So like this, earlier what we have done, earlier we created one properties file. Earlier we created one properties file, which is application.properties, and everything we configure in the application.properties file. So if you have single application.properties file, every time when you are deploying the application, we need to change that properties file. Changing that properties file every time is very difficult. It is a time-taking process, and there is a chance of doing the mistakes also. It is a time-taking process, and there is a chance of doing the mistakes also. So that is the reason what Spring people are telling, boss, in the real time, your application will be deployed in the multiple environments now. In the real time, your application will be deployed in the multiple environments now. Then go for profiles concept. What is the purpose of this profiles? It is used to manage multiple environment specific properties in our application. Using this profiles concept, we can easily deploy our application in multiple environments. We can easily deploy our application in multiple environments using profiles concept. Okay, so what I will do with the profiles, instead of creating single properties file for a dev environment, one properties file, for SIT environment, one properties file, for UAT environment, one properties file, for production, one properties file. Dev application -dev. Here -dev, this is a profile name, guys. This name can be anything. This name can be anything. I have given application -dev. -dev is my profile name. -SIT. SIT is my profile name. -UAT. UAT is my profile name. -prod. This is my profile name. Okay, so like this I configure multiple properties files in the application. Dev properties file contain dev database data. SIT properties contains SIT environment data. UAT properties file contains UAT environment data. Prod properties file contains prod environment data. So every properties file contains that environment data. Now, when I am deploying my application, I will configure one property in the main properties file, spring.profiles.active is equal to dev. So this is one property I will configure in the main properties file. Application and properties file is a base properties file. In the base properties file, I will configure spring.profiles.active is equal to dev. So when I am going for the dev deployment, I will configure active profile is equal to dev. Then my application will load the properties from the dev properties file, and it will connect with the dev database. When I am going to deploy the project in the SIT environment, then simply I will configure active profile is equal to SIT. Then my application will read the data from the SIT properties file. Suppose when I am deploying my application in the production, I will configure as a profile is equal to prod. Then what will happen? My application will connect with the production properties. Do I need to change 100 properties every time, or I need to change only one property at every time? With this approach, do I need to change 100 properties every time, or I need to change only one property? Come on, guys.
Only one property.
Earlier we have single properties file. So in the single properties file, you need to modify everything. If 100 properties available, 100 properties you need to modify. But now with the profiles concept, what is the advantage? For every environment, one separate properties file is available. When I am deploying my code in the dev environment, I will configure active profile is equal to dev. When I configure active profile is equal to dev, then what will happen, guys? If I configure, this is called activating the profile. spring.profiles.active is equal to dev. What is the meaning of spring.profiles.active is equal to dev? What is the meaning of that? I am not getting any response.
It will load the properties from dev.properties file.
Spring.profiles.active is equal to dev. When I give spring.profiles.active is equal to dev, that means it will load the properties from the dev properties file. Okay, now I want to deploy my code in the SIT environment. What are the changes I need to do to deploy my code in the SIT environment? I want to deploy my application in the SIT environment. So what I need to do to deploy my code in the SIT environment?
Simply we need to change in base application.properties file.
In the base properties file, I am going to activate the profile as SIT. If I activate the profile as SIT, then what will happen? My application will connect with the SIT properties file. So we are changing 100 properties, or we are changing one property in the base properties file. Which is recommended? Changing 100 properties is recommended. Changing one property is recommended.
One property.
Yes. So this is the concept of profiles in the Spring Boot. So when you have multiple environments for your application, multiple profiles we are going to maintain. Application -, this is a common name, fixed name. After -, whatever you give, that is the name of your profile. Application -dev properties, application -SIT properties, application -UAT properties, application -prod properties. Dev, SIT, UAT, prod is my profile name. So when I am going to deploy the project in the production, I will set the active profile as a prod. Then my application is going to connect with the production properties file. My application will read the data from the production properties file. For example, I want to deploy my application in the UAT environment. Then I will give spring.profiles.active is equal to UAT. Then my application will connect with the UAT properties file. My application will read the data available in the UAT properties file. Are you able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me?
Yes, sir.
So what is the benefit of profiles concept? Now can you tell me? You on almost 1 hour 15 minutes I explained about environment and what is the problem available in the environments. Whenever you have multiple environments, what is the problem and what is the solution for that problem I explained. Can anybody tell me in the 2 minutes of time, whatever we discussed now, what is a profile and why we need to use the profiles concept in the Spring Boot application? Then I will show you one real-time scenario for you with the profiles concept. As of now, theoretically I explained. As of now, theoretically I have explained profiles concept and why. I will show you one real-time scenario for the profiles. Come on. Can anybody tell me why we need to go for profiles and what is the advantage we are getting with the profiles?
Sir, actually profiles are used to manage the environment specific configuration properties. Instead of if we are not using properties file, then every time we need to change the environment specific properties. Suppose if I want to deploy my project into SIT environment, we need to change the configurations like SIT properties, SIT URL, SIT username, and SIT password. Instead of using that, we have to use properties file. By using that one, we can manage environment specific properties. That's the main advantage of
how to activate a profile in the Spring Boot.
In the base application.properties, we need to configure that properties file name, sir.
Yes. So what is the property name? Spring.profiles.active is equal to profile name that you want to activate. If I give in our application, for a dev, one properties file, for SIT, one properties file, for UAT, one properties file, for production, one properties file will be available like this. Now, application should connect with which properties file. Application should load the data from the which properties file that we are going to configure in the base properties file. This is called activating the profile. Spring dot profiles.active is equal to UAT. Spring.profiles.active is equal to UAT. Then my project will read the data from the UAT properties file. If I configure as a prod, it will read the properties from the prod properties, production properties file. So now every time when I am going to deploy the project into, when I want to deploy the project into particular environment, what is the change I need to do, guys? When I want to deploy the project into different environment, then what is the change I need to do now? When I want to deploy my project into prod environment or UAT or SIT, what is the change I need to do now? Come on, guys.
In application.properties file, we need to change one property. Spring.profiles.active equal to which properties files I want to configure that. Just mention that name only.
Yes. So we need to activate that profile. So do you want to deploy your project into dev environment or SIT or UAT or production? You go and configure that profile name. So you just activate that profile name. Spring.profiles.active is equal to dev. Then it will load the dev properties file. And if you want to deploy your project in the production, spring.profiles.active is equal to prod. Then your application will be connected with the production database. Production properties file it is going to load. So instead of changing 100 properties every time, we are going to change only one property in the base properties file. Spring.profiles.active is equal to the profile name that you need to configure. Spring.profiles.active is equal to profile name you are going to configure, then your application will be connected with that particular environment. Okay, so this is all about profiles concept, guys. So if you are changing properties like this, then there is a chance of doing mistakes in the properties file, then our application deployment will fail. To overcome this problem, we will use profiles concept. Okay, using profiles, we can maintain environment specific properties file like below. Okay, so we are going to maintain application-dev.properties file will be available. Application-sit properties file will be available. Application-dev.properties, application-uat.properties, application-uat.properties will be available. And similarly, application-production.properties will be available. And we are, so to load, we are going to, we can activate required profile. We can activate required profile in base properties file, that is application.properties. So how to activate that profile? We are going to configure the base properties file, application.properties file. There we will write spring.profiles.active is equal to dev. Then it is going to read the data from the dev properties file. When I want to deploy the project in the SIT, profiles active is equal to SIT, then it will load the data from the SIT properties. When I want to deploy in the UAT, active is equal to UAT, it will load the properties from the UAT properties file. If you want to deploy in the production, active is equal to prod, then it will load the properties from the production properties file. Are you guys clear with my point? What is the profile and why I discussed about, before talking about the profiles concept, why I explained environment? You got the clarity now? You got the clarity? What is environment and what are the challenges available when we are dealing with multiple environments in the real time? What are the challenges available when we are dealing with multiple environments in the real time? So every environment will have its own properties. Every environment will have its own properties. So dealing with multiple environments is not easy. When you maintain single properties file, it will become very difficult to change the properties every time. So to overcome that problem, we are going to maintain profiles concept. For every environment, a dedicated profile will be available. For every environment, a dedicated profile will be available. And which profile you want to load for your application, you can activate that concept in the main properties file, which is also called as base properties file. How to activate that profile in the base properties file? So we are going to configure like this: spring.profiles.active is equal to UAT. Then it will connect with the UAT properties file to load the data. Similarly, when you are going for production, you can configure active is equal to prod. Whatever the name you give, this is the name. This is called our profile name. Profile name can be anything. No need to be dev or no need to be SIT. This name can be anything. This name is called as a profile name. Dev, SIT, UAT and prod. This is the profile name. So that profile name you are going to configure here. So based on that, it is going to load the data from the particular properties file and our application deployment will be easy. Instead of changing 100 properties every time, we are going to change only one property now. Instead of changing 100 properties every time, we are going to change only one property now. Then our application deployment process will become easy. So how to activate that profile? So Spring profiles concept. Okay, so application profile spring.profiles.active is equal to UAT, dev, SIT, UAT, prod. So like this, multiple environments available, multiple environments we can manage by using profiles like this. Multiple environments we can manage by using profiles like this. So your task will become very simple when you are deploying the application into multiple environments. Just you need to activate that particular profile which you want. Whether you want to go with a prod deployment, whether you want to go with a UAT deployment, you want to go with the dev deployment or SIT deployment, whatever you want to deploy, you just change the profile name here. Are you clear? Let me show you a simple demo on this process. Guys. Suppose if you have application like this, Spring MVC JSP application is available. Application.properties file is available. Okay. Now let me configure one more properties file here. Application properties available now. Let me configure one properties file. Application-dev.properties and application-SIT.properties I have created. Dev properties, SIT properties available. In the dev properties file, I will configure server.port is equal to 9090 in the dev properties file. In the SIT properties file, I will configure server.port is equal to 7070. Just I want to show you which property file it is loading. Okay, then go to base properties file. Then I am going to write spring.profiles.active. Spring.profiles.active is equal to dev. Then what is the meaning of that now? So in the dev properties file, what is the port number I configured for embedded server? 9090. In the SIT properties file, I configured 7070. Now, when I run my application, embedded server will run with which port number, guys? When I run this application, which port number it will use now? Which by default 8080. I want to change that port number. For SIT, I have given 7070. For a dev, I have given 9090. How I have activated the profile? Spring.profiles.active is equal to dev. Now can you tell me which port number it will use to run embedded Tomcat container?
9090.
Which port number it will use now? Where I configure the port number?
9090.
8080.
Server.port equal to 9090.
So in the dev properties file, what is the port number I configured? 9090. In the SIT properties file, what is the port number I configured? 7070. So dev profile is available, SIT profile is available. How to activate the profile now? SIT profile available, dev profile available. How to activate the profile now? Application dot properties file. Spring dot profiles dot active is equal to dev. Dev profile I am activating. So which port number it will load? 9090 or 7070? Come on, guys.
9090.
Why 9090?
We configure
local only, right?
So which profile I activated now? Dev. So which properties file it will read? Dev properties file it will read. Okay. Let us run this application and see the port number. Let us do the Maven update. Whenever you change the properties, guys, let us do a Maven update. Clean and do the Maven update. Whenever you modify the properties, so just do the Maven update once. Then go to the start class and run this, and you see which profile got activated. Run as boot application. Now Tomcat starting. So now you see which profile is active now. Which profile is active now?
Dev.
Dev. So which port number it is using?
9090.
So can I say dev environment port number, SIT environment port number is different? Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
similarly, you can configure data source properties, SMTP properties, Kafka properties. So for every environment, one properties file will be available like this. Now I will show you the real-time scenario. Now, so you are accessing Ashok IT website. So before going to show the scenario, are you clear with the environment and what is the challenge available when you go for environments and how we are getting the solution with the profiles concept? Technically, are you clear concept wise?
Yes, sir.
Any questions, anyone? Anybody having any questions as of now?
Hello, Ashok.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, as a developers, we may not have access to credentials for prod DB, UAT DB, right?
So that DevOps team will manage those proper credentials. So whenever they are deploying, they will manage those properties.
Okay, so we are not creating prod properties and
the prod we don't maintain. The remaining properties we are going to maintain.
Okay, thank you.
UAT also they are not providing, no sir.
No, Dev and SIT. First of all, the profiles will be available. They will change those properties, so they will not give the access for that. Okay, so guys, you understand the concept of environments and profiles concept.
System will be different now according to environment.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to configure like IP address also, no? Change.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, okay,
So it is one-time configuration only, right? Not every time.
Yeah, sir. Okay, thank you.
If you don't use profiles, every time you need to configure. If you use profiles, only one time we are going to configure.
Yes.
Yep.
Hello, sir. In
Yeah,
real-time scenario, we can use cloud or database, sir.
Sorry?
In real-time scenario, we can use real-time project. We can use the database or cloud, sir.
Your question is not clear, sir.
But he is asking in real time, do we use cloud or database? Cloud as in AWS.
Cloud data. It depends on your company, sir. Some people will go for cloud databases. Some people will use their own on-premises database. It depends on the company. So in my company, we are using cloud database.
Okay, sir.
Sir, in actual real-time project through CI/CD, I believe we don't even change the Spring.profile to active.
This
environment
property
variable, right?
also you can pass in the runtime, sir. When you are running the application, you can pass this property dynamically. You don't need to fix it.
Okay. That's what thank you.
Sir, @profile annotation also we can use, sir. @profile.
Yes.
Sir, when that one we can use, sir, actually.
If you don't want to manage configuration like this, you can go with annotation based also.
Okay, sir.
Sir, what is the difference between cloud and database?
Sir, cloud and database, there is no difference, sir. Cloud database and normal database. Cloud database means they will give you database for rent. If you are using somebody database for rent, that is called cloud database. If you install database on your own, that is called your on-premises database.
Okay, sir.
Are you clear with my point?
Sir, database means Oracle you are using, MySQL you are
Yes,
using.
sir, those are the
And
databases. Yes, madam.
yeah, that is our company part.
Correct. Okay. So now guys, let me show you Ashok IT project that you guys are using, right? I told you that is developed by Spring Boot. Okay. Now you see this is Ashok IT website backend project is available, guys. So in the resources, can you see what are these things available now? Can you see what are these things? In the base properties file, what is available? In the main application properties file, what is one line available? What is that one line?
String.profiles.active equal to prod.
Prod. What is the meaning of this?
End user databases.
Yes. So this application will read the production properties file. Now you see, I have Windows properties file, I have test properties file, I have prod properties file. If I go to Windows properties, my files will be loaded into this location, guys. When I'm running my website in the local, so when I am doing the development, when I'm doing the development of this Ashok IT website, so I will run this project in my Windows system. When I'm running the project in the Windows system, the files should be stored into this path. The file should be stored into this path. These all are the properties available to store the files. When I am deploying the project in the production, the files will be stored into some other path. The files will be stored into some other path. Suppose if I don't use the profiles concept, every time I need to change all these properties. So is it easy to change all these properties every time? So when I am running my project in the production, this is the path where I will upload my files. In the system, in the website, images uploading, class notes uploading, some path is available. When I'm running in the Windows, the path is like this e-directory website, Ashok IT, something like this. But when it go for the production, the files will be uploaded into Ashok IT website directly in the production. So if I don't use the profiles concept, every time I need to change all these paths. That is very difficult for me. So that is the reason in the Ashok IT website also, I implemented profiles concept. So Windows properties file available, prod properties file available. Windows properties are going to connect with these properties and the database is available as local database, localhost colon something like this. So I'm connecting with my local database when I'm running the project in the Windows. When I'm going to connect with the production, my production properties are different. My production database username, my production properties are different. So every time I can't change these properties. So that is the reason I created prod properties file, Windows properties file. So when I am running the project in the local machine for testing, I will configure the profile is equal to Windows. Then it will connect with my local database. When I am deploying this project in the production, then I will enable the profile active is equal to prod. So with a simple change, I can manage my deployment into multiple environments. So this is Ashok IT website source code. So this project properties active is equal to prod. When I'm doing the production deployment, it will load the production properties. When I'm running this project in the local, I will configure active is equal to Windows. So like this in the real time also, for every project, profiles concept will be available to manage multiple environments. Profiles concept will be available to manage multiple environments. Are you guys able to follow me?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So, if we change from prod to window in that website, at the same time, can we able to access the website?
In my local, it can access localhost colon 8080.
If we try to access from our system, can we able to access it? Sir?
Yes, we can access. It will how our application running in our local system. In the same way, my website also will run in my local. When I'm doing the coding, testing, I will do in the local. Once my coding is completed, then I will change the profile to prod and I will deploy in the production. Then you can access end users. Now you guys are accessing Ashok IT website. So you are going for www.ashokit.in. So what is the meaning of that? This project is in the production. It is connected to production properties file. So when there is a bug, when I want to fix that bug in the website, then I will run the project in my local system by keeping the profile is equal to Windows. You got the point? Guys, are you clear? What is profiles and what is the benefit of using profiles in the Spring Boot? Profile name can be anything. Dev, SIT, UAT, prod. So in my project, I have given the profile names like this. So I have given Windows is one profile, prod is one profile, test is one profile. So like this, profile name can be anything. After hyphen, whatever the name you are giving, that is called profile name. That name I am going to activate. If I give active is equal to Windows, it will load the Windows properties file data. If I give active is equal to prod, it will load the prod properties file data. If I give test, it will load the test properties data. Profile name can be anything. So whatever you give after hyphen, that is called your profile name. I have given a line underscore here. So that name you need to configure. These screenshots I have shared in the WhatsApp group also, guys, for your understanding purpose. What is profiles? Why we need to go for profiles and how to work with the profiles. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep. Anybody having any questions on this? Anybody having any questions on this? What is profile and how to work with the profiles in the Spring Boot? What is profile? How to work with the profiles in the Spring Boot? Anybody having any questions, you can ask me. I'm going to upload these notes, guys. So in the WebMVC only we discussed about the profiles concept. I'm going to update these notes in the portal. So please do the practice before coming to tomorrow's session.
Sir, real time, how the application will access? Is it in the, how to access from the Git repo, sir, these properties?
I did not get your question.
So real time, are we placing in the same resource folder or?
Yes, sir. In the real time also, it will be available in the resource folder only, sir. All the profiles will be available in the resource folder only. All the profiles will be available in the resource folder only.
Hello.
So you see in the project, all the properties files will be available inside the resources folder. Main properties file available, dev properties available, SIT properties also available. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have another doubt. So
yeah.
Yesterday I am trying to do some testing on this application that in server dot port number I'm putting like 0. Okay. So that time whenever I'm running this application, so every time it is creating some new port number.
Yes, sir. Port number should be 4-digit number, sir. You can't use 0. Port number is always
Then why
4
it is creating
if you
like
don't set the
every
port,
time
if you
like
set it as
new
0, it will take a random port number.
Sir, if we
Okay.
take 4 zeros.
No, it won't accept it. Okay. Cool, guys. Fine. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for now. We'll meet again in the tomorrow session. Thank you, guys.